Championship 2019. We've already seen Simon Stevenson book his place in round 2 with a win over Dave Prins in our opening match of the day, and now attention turns to another all-English encounter featuring this man in your picture, Martin Atkins, open bracket, Leeds close bracket, not to be confused with Martin Atkins of Wigan, and he's up against, well, one of the men of the moment, Premier League contender, World Championship quarter-finalist, PDC Newcomer of the Year. Plenty of accolades go alongside the name of Luke Humphries right now. Paul Nicholson alongside me for this one. On paper, this should be a fairly comfortable exercise for Humphries if he can maintain the sort of form that he's produced over the last, what, 6 months or so.
Yeah, this is a difficult one to call for me, though, because it's a very quiet atmosphere and it's very much like the Pro Tour. And everybody knows that Luke Humphries, he likes to get jacked up and get the adrenaline pumping. It's really difficult for that to happen in this kind of atmosphere.
First leg, Martin to throw first. Game on.
However, Martin Atkins of Leeds, the assassin, of BDO fame really and BDO experience, is now playing Challenge Tour and very well, 100. I might add. I was talking to Martin last week because he was hanging out with Glenn Durrant a lot. They used to room together a lot in the BDO. And after his defeat, I asked him 85. How he felt about it. And he said it was just a bit weird on a Friday afternoon playing such an important match in front of a very small crowd. And I said, well, you've qualified next week. You're going to be more prepared, aren't you? And he said, exactly 85. That. I'll be ready for next week. So I think the experience of last week will make this game a little bit closer.
Okay. Well, Luke was in a fairly easygoing frame of mind. I caught the same flight as him from Heathrow yesterday. He was in a very relaxed mood. He's brought over his other half as well, and he travelled along with Keegan Brown and Andrew Gilding. They were all on the same flight. And Hildesheim is a place he knows very well, of course. He may not have played European Tour too often here, but he has played an abundance of development tour here when we've had development tour events in Germany as well. They tended, or have tended, to be staged here. So he knows this venue pretty much inside out, and he's happy to be in familiar surroundings, which I think can sometimes you know, count for something.
I think that's absolutely right.
140.
I think certain dart players as well, when they look freshly groomed, just look a bit sharper. I think Adrian Lewis is like that. And Luke's had a bit of a bonnet cut and had that beard trimmed a bit. He just looks a bit fresher. Looks like he's had a bit of outside time, and he's had a bit of a break as well because he didn't play last week.
100.
So just having a week off sometimes can help, and we know that because Michael Smith's taken the week off. He needs to recharge the batteries, and you don't want to do that. Now he's 39. Could have been worse. He could have hit tops. Double 16.
On the first
excellent
leg,
fix.
Martin Atkins.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise that particular route, but he digs himself out of a bit of a hole there. I mentioned about Humphries, you know, on paper has to be the favourite for this one, but Martin Atkins, you know, look at his record in qualifying for this. He beat Steve West 6-1 in the second round, so I think we should take that as value for a start-off. And he's been around for years as well, has Martin Atkins. He's 53 years old. He's been there, done that. He's he's on the Challenge Tour these days as well. So even though he's a non-tour card holder, he's
99.
You know, still putting in the hours at the coalface, shall we say? And
it just goes to show, doesn't it, the quality of dart players out there who are trying and not getting on tour by right. It's a frightening business these days. And
140.
Martin Atkins at his age now is going to be running up against a whole host of young talent.
140.
This week, it's Luke Humphries. Last week, it was Ted Everts. And what he wants to do is flip that result around because a 6-3 loss last week, he did not play his best. Already, he's playing better. Look, but he is.
And that moment of brilliance will not be forthcoming right here and now, so Luke Humphries will return, looking at tops to level the match. Yeah, you look at the field. Well, we'll just see if Humphries can take out this double 20 before we look at the youth on display this weekend. But, well, Nathan Aspinall, of the players under 30, I suppose, Aspinall, the UK qualifiers, headlines that list as well. Keegan Brown as well is another one who's here this weekend. Also, Luke Humphries on stage right now. Josh Payne, another talented young player.
85.
And then you look at the other qualifiers as well. Mike De Decker came through last night as well, 24 years old, from the Western South European qualifier. And some promising young German players winning the host nation qualifiers last night as well. Talk of a new breed.
Yeah, we saw a young lad last week called Nico Kurtz, who was
85.
impressive, and Kim Huybrechts could not believe his luck last week against Nico Kurtz when Nico missed 7 darts to beat him.
60.
But Nico Kurtz has showed us in the last 7 days, of course, that he can definitely play the game, but he needs to work on closing matches out. And I get the feeling that happened in qualifying last night as well, when he was playing Kevin Knopf, who we'll see this afternoon against Scott Taylor, because that was a 6-5 game, and I think there were more missed darts missed.
I was just going to say, Kurtz was desperately unlucky last night to lose that. And, well, Knopf is another one. He's only 22. So another young German, potentially in the making. Plenty of the old guard came through last night, though. The likes of Mike Langendorf and
82.
Mike Holtz as well, both in their late 40s. And the evergreen Jihan Artut is with us once again this weekend, as he was in Leverkusen. The only German through the host nation qualifiers on both occasions so far this year on the European tour.
I get the feeling Luke Humphries is just starting to warm up a little bit. That 134 is a beautiful setup from 170. If you can't get the big fish, the second best prize is to do what he did. So double 18, perfect guide. Surely. That was a guide of all guides. I mean, you couldn't place 2 darts any better in that black bit on the outside to give yourself a bit of a wall to hit. And he sure hit that wall.
40.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for Luke Humphries to get to this, but we've already mentioned Chris Dobey and talking about Dave Prinz in match 1. And it was Dobey that Luke Humphries beat 6-4 to get to this stage. And he also took out Matt Edgar as well, which is not an easy thing at the minute because he qualified for last week. I get the feeling those qualifiers are going to be deadly in the next few months. We've already seen, Rob, people who are thriving in them. Steve Beaton, 4 out of 4, only person to do so. Jelle Klaassen hasn't qualified for 1 yet. So his season is already under pressure.
55.
But going back to what you were saying about the host nation guys, the new rule of tour card holders having to go to the UK or European qualifier as opposed to a host nation is really putting some of these players under the cosh. People like Martin Schindler, who hasn't qualified for the first 2 Euro Tour events, and he's not used to that.
180.
And it's almost a bit of a paradox, because in a way they're being not punished, but there is a downside to all the success that they've had. You know, they are making strides on the Pro Tour order of merit. Max has made giant strides, in particular, of course, by winning one of these Euro Tour events last year.
It's probably Max's fault, actually. If he hadn't won that, it might have not changed the rule.
But then again, it sort of levels the playing field a little bit in a way. I can see the logic behind the decision to go behind the new rules.
Excellent from Luke Humphries. That's the kind of thing he does to you. In a flash, he will break your heart. Even if you've got a heart of ice playing this game, which is what you need sometimes, he will pick it out of your chest and drop it on the floor. That 102 was clinical, especially after Atkins had done what he needed to do to approach a double. Humphries looking to set up a game with Darren Webster, who he gets on really well with.
100.
And I actually shared a cab with Darren Webster this morning from the airport, and what an engaging fella he is. He's been struggling with a bit of an arm injury in the last couple of weeks, getting some acupuncture on his right forearm. But I'm not going to try and do his
100.
accent. But he says he doesn't care about the pain. He's going to keep going on. He's practicing well. And he's still confident. And he will play
55.
whoever wins this one, the 13th seed. I do recall as well, while we've still got Martin Atkins here, because at the minute he's
100.
under the cosh. He may be suffering a defeat to Luke Humphries if Luke keeps going forward the way he is. And here's more evidence of that. Fantastic. I remember when David Beckham had a very characteristic mohawk, and Martin Atkins did that exact same haircut when he went to Lakeside, and it looked very odd.
So we're talking 2001, 2002?
Something like that, yeah.
134.
If he'd have kept it, it would have been the second most famous mohawk in darts.
Brilliant setup by Luke Humphries there, by the way. The 1-3-4 to leave double 16 was a very timely one indeed, because Atkins might still win this leg, and that's a brilliant response. He was under real pressure there, but the 1-1-6, that was a really, really good check out by Martin Atkins. Luke Humphries setting it all up, but all to no avail.
That was a sink or swim shot, that was, because he misses that double 18. You guarantee that Luke Humphries goes 4-1 up, and then you just cannot see him coming back from that the way Luke's playing. So sometimes you need proof from someone that they're going to get in the game, and that 1-1-6 was phenomenal from Martin Atkins. An unfortunate dropout for Luke there, but maybe it clipped the flight on the way through. But I think that 1-1-6 proves why Martin Atkins has played for England so many times within the BDO system.
41.
And he's playing the game for them next week. I've just been reliably informed by my confidant, that is Richard Ashdown, that he's not the only Martin Atkins that's in the England team. The other one's in as well.
So England fans, when you turn up, you remember to sing, "There's only two Martin Atkins."
That could be the best chant of the weekend, that. They're very successful on the Challenge Tour as well, aren't they? Both of them.
I'm waiting for a third one to come along.
60. Luke requires 52.
2 words for you. Deed Paul. Double 16 for Luke Humphries. There's only one Luke Humphries.
36.
Luke Humphries was telling me last night he was almost called Liam, or almost christened Liam when he was, or shortly after he was born.
He'd just be glad it wasn't Barry.
Assigned the name Luke. I'll tell you, I'll leave that hanging for a while. Let's just see if Luke Humphries finds this double 8. But I know the reason his father and mother chose the name Luke instead over Liam. Double 4, 4-2. It's these little snippets he picks up when you take the time just to have a little chat with players every now and then. It was a nice little line. I'm just going to leave that there for a while. I'm going to park it.
41.
Well, he's not the only cool hand, that's the thing. Because Scott Rand, very good dart player from the Midlands, used to frequent the tour of it. He made Pro Tour final in the Netherlands, in Newland, years ago. I think that was back in 2010. And he, of course, made the semi-finals of the Players' Championship finals where he lost to Kevin Painter, and he had 2 dots to get through. He was called Cool Hand Rand. So there's something to do with mimicking in this game, be it the real name or the nickname.
Humphries also dwelt a little bit on his Premier League experience as well. He was one of the contenders this year in light of the absence of Gary Anderson. He certainly made the most of it, I think, by that 6-all draw with Gerwyn Price in Exeter just on the eve of the UK Open.
But they're the games that Luke thrives in. He wants a bit of an emotional charge, a little bit of adrenaline pumping, and who better than Gezi Price to play in those kinds of games?
Yeah, Price wired a double 12 for a 9-dart leg in that match as well, so we almost had a Premier League 9-darter in Exeter that weekend or that night. And, well, I mean, they seem to happen every day of the week so far in 2019. We even had one on the European Tour once again last weekend.
Preceded by a 171 approach on a 170 in the final was the big fish, but the 9-darter was just delightful. 3 different ways he's did a 9-darter this year, Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, and well, I mean, there are something like 4,000 permutations, aren't there? But you wonder how many more Michael van Gerwen could tick off. Luke Humphries is ticking off the legs here. 5-2 he leads. Very similar match to the one that preceded this one, the opening match of the day, where Prinz and Stevenson went toe-to-toe on the breaks of throw very early on,
60.
and then Stevenson just kicked on and found an extra gear, and I think this has happened to an extent in this one as well.
I think sometimes we have to talk about atmospherics, which is a very important topic in the heart of Peter Wright, especially in the last couple of days, because he didn't enjoy himself much in Rotterdam, where he found that there was a draft on stage. But if you look through the history of this tournament, we go back to 2015, where we had Michael van Gerwen versus Gary Anderson, and they both averaged way north of 100. It's one of the greatest matches in the history of the European Tour, arguably the greatest. This arena lends itself to magnificent darts. It's just a good size, a good temperature, a fantastic time of year to play. Everybody's got a nice mix of rest and practice and competitive stuff in the bank. I think we're going to see some big averages here, and potentially someone like Chisnell could do that. Even Luke could do that, because he has a high level.
83. Martin O'Connor, 164.
Well, just stopped in his tracks ever so slightly here, Luke Humphries. Atkins looking at 164, which is not going to go, so Humphries will have a chance to return
60.
And look at 78 for a place in round 2. And a meeting with Darren Wester in the second round tomorrow for Coolhan Luke Humphries. Double 12 he wants now. Double 12 he finds. And Coolhan Luke Humphries, the PDC's best newcomer of the year last year. A contender in the Premier League, a World Championship quarter-finalist, is through to the second round of the German Darts Championship. Fairly comfortable in the end, and more than justifying his odds-on status to see off Martin Atkins in his opening match. A job well done for Luke Humphries in his opener. Darren Webster awaits tomorrow, and Coolhan Luke can reflect on a job well done. Third match of the day on the way very shortly. What a cracker in store as well. Robert Thornton, two-time major winner, two-time PDC major winner, against Ricky Evans, finalist on the Euro Tour last year.
Luke, congratulations. Average of 100, double percentage over 50, 54%. That's good.
Yeah, that's just a decent performance. You know, my scoring was up and down sometimes. A few legs it wasn't as good as it could be, but yeah, 100 average, I take that every day of the week, you know, and I think tomorrow we need to sort of put in a performance of 100 average to stand a chance, yeah.
When we saw each other last year, 2018, on big stages, you always there was still trouble in your life, you know, when you're playing since the World Championship. I mean, when you're playing on big stages, you're playing very well. Not only the World Championship, it was the Premier League match was great. There's a change when you're playing, right?
I mean, the last time I saw you, we spoke. You know, I'd had a couple of good games on the Euro Tour, but since I last saw you, I've had 6 good games on the TV. You know, and I've played 6 good games on a stage. So I feel at home up here. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I just feel really good up here, and it seems to bring out my best game, and it's the best place to bring it out, you know, up on the big stage.
Does it change the goals for 2019 when you feel you can do that on big stages?
I think I have big goals. You know, I think I am one of the best players in the world on the stage. You know, I'm not sure if I'm top 16, maybe top 32 in the world on the stage, but the bread and butter's on the floor, and I need to start picking up more prize money on the floor. But we're not here from the floor, we're up on the stage, you know, and if I keep performing like that, you know, I'll go far.
Yeah, cool. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Luke Humphries, der sich inzwischen so verdammt wohlfühlt auf großen Bühnen, auch natürlich auf TV-Bühnen.